Hi everybody, hope you're doing well. It's Dr. A here in the back office and I am back from my vacation, hence the lovely tanned hands. And I have a gadget to start off my journey into the winter by doing some automation projects and generally fixing things that need RF transmitters. And this seemed a really good way of buying them because it was £17 for this whole kit, and that includes 4 of these RF transmitters, and they do have batteries in, or at least that's what's making those buttons glow, and a receiver. So I've really loosened the lid, and inside you've got 4, that's right, 4 relays that are controllable from these remotes, and the relays are rated to 20 amps. 20 amps 14 volts, 20 amps 125 volts AC. So yeah, I don't know if you want to do some direct AC switching of those, be a bit careful. You have a power input here, and I can see our RF receiver, a button there that's probably a learn, and a little mode, and I think it's an M on it, so it might have a momentary action, but we're going to try that now. Unfortunately there are no instructions from this from the Amazon, but I will link down below to the product on Amazon if I remember, in case you're interested in getting one. First things first, of course, is the power supply. We'll just pop the positive wire in first. As I look over to the bench power supply, just to make sure it's not on, I didn't know the polarity of these wires, so I actually turned on the bench power supply and shorted them against the positive contact, and the one that didn't short, I hope, is the positive, and that's what I've connected here. So we've got that there now ready to go, and I'm going to open up one of these. So you've got A, B, C, D. Let's see what happens. Power on. Ooh, nothing too dramatic. In fact, I'm giving it 12 volts. I didn't check the power output that I was giving it. I am giving it 12 volts, so hopefully it's not a 5 volt thing. So I'm going to push the learn button. Oh, the light has come on, and now I'm pushing A. I heard that. Definitely one of the relays is going off. And I can tell as I push A, B, C, D, I can hear the pitch of these relays actually changing. But we don't have to guess that, we can actually test it. Taking a multimeter on continuity, we can have a look at these contacts. So they say A, B, C, so one will be common, and one will be normally open, and one will be normally closed. So let's go for the A and the B. So those must be normally closed, so A and C. Well, I say normally closed, I might have activated them with this, but A, B, C, D. So that relay is relay D according to this remote control. So let's go on to the C, what we think is a C. Oh no, have I skipped one? I think I think I've skipped one. There we go, C. And would this be D here? No. B, sorry, B. B. And then A. Right, we got it, we sorted it out. Now there is a jumper here that looks interesting because it does appear there is another mode of operation. So if we switch that into the other mode, oh, I heard it right away tick. So I'm going to push D, and you could hear right away, as soon as I let go, it disengaged. So we can test that. So while I'm holding that down, that activates. So this is cool. You could use this actually to just not just like do your garage door or whatever, but actually as a control, like up, down, left, right. You know, if it was oriented that way. I think this represents excellent value because, again, 20 quid. Now, something fun. You could do a really interesting kind of interlock, couldn't you? You could put this back onto the latched position by moving that jumper, program your remotes, and then have your circuit that goes normally via one relay, start at the top relay and then end at the bottom. And to activate your circuit, you could have to turn on all of the relays. But what you could do as well, you could change them from the normally open to the normally closed on some of them, so that when you power on the board, some will need to be turned on, some will need to be turned off. It'll be like that kind of Mad Max thing where they start the vehicle by this sequence of stuff. Interesting. And those of you curious to see what happens, I have two of the remote controls in my hands. You can see a software-defined radio output on the screen. I'm now pressing A on the left-hand one, and now I'm about to press A on the right-hand one. So you can see, interestingly enough, the signals are actually at slightly different frequencies. But it gets more interesting because I'm going to actually hold the left one now, and I'm going to press A, B, C and D, and you'll notice that they all appear slightly different areas of the frequency chart. In fact, they actually appear to drift around quite a lot. So I don't know how these work, to be honest with you. You'd have to obviously figure out how to decode the signal, but just pressing D on each of the two remote controls, that's the left-hand side remote control and that's the right, you can see that clearly their receiver must be allowing for a certain amount of drift. At one point I thought maybe it was the frequency is how it uses, because if you press A, B, C and D, you'll see that they are all over the frequency thing, but I suspect it's probably more down to the encoding. I thought I'd take a closer look at this before I put it back in its box, just to sort of give the general overview of how it's working. But you can see here you've got your power coming in. That's going via some conditioning, and you see right in there, that's your power regulator. So that's giving you your board power, which I'm not entirely sure what this will be running off. Interestingly enough, you see it's going to use probably the voltage coming in to operate the relays. I know they're 12 volt relays, so you're probably going to need at least 12 volt, well, let's say at least 8 volts or something in this board to work it. But I'm sure this is bringing this down to a 5 volt logic, which is then powering the radio receiver board, which has its own microcontroller on here, and then the control logic here, which again I believe is probably, in fact, is that a little AVR? No. Anyway, which I believe is another microcontroller on here, and effectively what it would be doing is decoding, so this is going to be sending some sort of signal to that micro. I don't know if it's a decoded serial stream or just a series of noughts and ones. The microcontroller is going to be trying to compare those to what it expects to see. I don't suppose these have rolling codes or anything. I think they're probably quite simple. And interestingly enough, the other 3 remotes, which I hadn't programmed to this for learning, just operated it right away as well. So maybe they're all just coded alike. So probably don't use it for high security applications. So that's looking for the codes coming in from the remote controls, and if they are registered to the device, it's outputting to these one of these 4 transistors, and maybe it's being inverted or driven by this chip, who knows. And that transistor is allowing the 12 volts of the main circuit to flow through the relay, and then that will operate the relay. Now, if you are planning to run higher voltages through this, what I would suggest is, 1, probably don't, but 2, we're going to just whip the lid off to have a look at the tracks to see how beefy they are. I suspect in any case you'd be better off operating a nice big fat mains relay separate to this, but controlled by this. A relay to control a relay. But yeah, you can see I would be very cautious looking at those tracks. There's no separation really. I mean, sometimes you have a channel actually ground into the board and a nice big air gap to stop it arcing. And if you've ever had a mains powered board and have it arc across because you unsuspectedly put your control electronics too near, bad move. And I'm not seeing a level of isolation I would kind of generally expect, but then I guess the user interface for this is RF, so there's no buttons and things, but I don't suppose there's any optical isolation or anything like that on there. You know, just be careful. And indeed there on the bottom where you can't see, it does actually say DC 12 volts, so yeah, we should have put that on the top so you could see it when it's in its box. Any other interesting things? Probably not. I mean, there are some test points or something like here. So it does look like it did have the opportunity to have some other module or device fitted in here, but perhaps what they've done is designed it out and then since fitted this chip instead. So there you go. Do you have any interesting uses for such a thing? I would be curious to hear down below or on my Discord. For me, I will probably, as I said before, use it for just opening and shutting some gates or something like that. And I've just noticed while we're here, by the way, look at this. Yeah, that's interesting here. There's quite a big old blob of solder accumulated here. Anyway, glad to be back, glad to be chatting to you after summer, and thank you so much for watching.